Hello everyone and welcome to a new video on our channel here. Formula SimRacing, then the 2016 season. These are my personal highlights from round 13, I think it is, Suzuka. Immediately I should apologize as we join us in qualifying. Obviously it's the same format as always, so we will do qualifying first. But immediately I should apologize for the lack of videos on this channel the last couple of weeks. Part of the excuse is that I was a bit busy with school. However, the main part of the excuse lies with Formula SimRacing actually. I don't know why, I couldn't really get my head together around making videos. Yeah, didn't really enjoy editing them, I guess. And I wanted to invest my time in something different, mainly in practicing for the last couple of rounds. I'm recording this commentary one day after the final round has been driven already. There are 16 rounds and I think Suzuka is round 13, so we have round 13 is Suzuka, 14 is Malaysia, 15 is Circuit of the Americas and 16 is Brazil. I think it's right, I think that's right. So you know, I have some catching up to do, but I'll try to push those videos out as soon as possible. Now that the FSR season has ended, I feel like I can again invest the time I was usually spending in practice. I can invest it in making videos. And here in qualifying, I noticed, you know, something crazy immediately. I think that was Simocic there who we passed, and honestly, I am not a big fan of doing that in quali. I mean, Simocic was preparing for his lap, so was I, but again, I'm not a big fan of doing that in quali. In fact, I think it's a little bit rude and not very classy, but look at the gap Simocic had to the next car. I have no idea why he wasn't going and wanted to have an even bigger gap, and I'm not entirely sure, but I think this was reasonably close towards the end of the session, so I just wanted to get a move on, and that's why I did that. So I somewhat expected Simocic to go as well, but he didn't, so there we go. I agree that it's not very classy, but nonetheless, look at the gap we have got ahead of us. I mean, that is more than enough for Simocic to go, but I'm sure Simocic will be fine with it. Simocic is a very nice guy. This was my final run of the qualifying session. Suzuka last year was a fantastic race for us. This is where I picked up my first World Championship win. As I said, that was back in 2015 with Go Speed Racing. Those were all different conditions. Now we have a different car, you know, different drivers of course. I'm driving for a different team as well. But again, this was my final qualifying run. I think coming into this run I was third or something, maybe fourth. I'm sure I wasn't first at least, but at the end of the second sector split, so right about now, I knew this was going to be a stunner of a lap basically. My PB was a 0.1 coming into this session as we are about to cross the line and we smashed my PB.
Yes! Yes!
What? Oh, even with the improvement, Journey couldn't beat it. Holy cow.
Kuba in the skies doing a PB on the qualifying.
Yeah, there we go then. So I was super happy with that pole position. Didn't see it coming at all. I really did not. A 32.046. That's faster than my PB was. I practiced qualifying quite a bit for the last couple of races of the season, because I felt like that's where I could have improved, because usually I was quite far off my PB.
I think we should be boosting a bit in the first couple of laps, see if we can create a gap. If that's not possible, then we'll do our boost strategy.
Yes, I agree. So remember, our planned stop is 14.
Yeah, 2 stop there, top left of your screen, you can see it. Going option, hard or prime, and then option again. But talking about the qualifying again, yeah, I was just so happy to see that. Again, I practiced qualifying quite a bit actually for the last couple of rounds, and to see that it's working is very nice. Regarding the championship standings, I don't think we could become champion here yet. But you know, our objective is to finish ahead of Paris, and then perhaps at Malaysia, which is the next round, we can try to wrap up the Drivers' Championship, and if not, we can always do it in round 15 or 16 for that matter. But the sooner the better, obviously. That's clear. So after quali I also said Kuba in disguise. You may remember Kuba Brzezinski. Unfortunately he is not driving. I mean he kind of lost motivation I think and dropped out. Daniel Brewer will be replacing him, so that's my teammate for now. But Kuba used to in the beginning half of the season or the first half of the season, he would always like beat his PB in the qualifying session of the actual race, and you know, I always took my hat off for that, because if you can do that, you know, that's pretty impressive. He used to do it so many times. Perhaps I could do it once or twice in the season, but he almost did every race. Perhaps he didn't practice qualifying enough, but I'll leave that out of prospect, so to say, and just say that it's immense to beat your PP. Here you can see beat your PP in the actual quali, of course, I mean. But here you can see that I'm bunching up the field quite heavily, going very slow at the end of our lap. No rain really predicted for this race, which is yeah, kind of good, I guess. Suzuka, I felt reasonably comfortable, especially after that pole position. Hopefully we can do well, just like we did last year around this track. Still good memories about that. And Simulchich will be starting on second row. Simulchich not yet having won a race.
Okay, good luck, man. Let's do this.
Yep. Good luck. Keep it clean. That's the most important thing. We just need solid points. Don't risk anything. Let's try and hold on to this lead, though.
And like I said, Simulchich has never ever won a WC race in his career, which is rather remarkable. However, lights are out and away we go. Lap 1 out of 53 is on the way. You can see there's a lot of wheel spin for us. Immediately Simulchich pulls alongside. We're going side by side into turn 1. And I'm a little bit too much hot-headed, actually going off the track and leaving out on a lot of spaces. We see Paris in front of us. James Sadler, Simulchich's teammate, is rather close behind us. Actually was side by side, but is now behind. So after a poor start, I guess I completely lost my common sense, even I would say it. With the high fuel load, you know, you obviously don't drive in qualifying anymore where you have low fuel load. I just went way too hard into the first corner, trying to make up the first place, and it has cost us immensely. We have dropped down to P5, I think, behind Simulchich. Oh, sorry, behind Paris, obviously. Simulchich is still leading the race. And what a bad start that was. So that is that pole position achievement basically already thrown into the bin. We're gonna have to start from from zero, I guess, if that makes any sense. Wow, I'm still pretty comfortable. We're going for a prime option strategy, and I think some others will actually be running the prime tire twice, but we are yet to find that one out.
That's Paris ahead.
Yeah, so there's confirmation Paris is ahead at the moment. And I'm trying to, you know, trying to dig up the memory. I mean, this race must have been about 1 to 1.5 months ago. I'm trying to remember what I exactly was thinking heading into this race. I definitely knew that this was like an in-betweener. And what I mean by that is that I know that I most likely won't win the championship here. I don't even know if it was like even possible at all. I don't think it even was possible at all to win it here. Maybe if Paris would have DNF'd or something, I still doubt it. But I see this race as an in-betweener. We basically have to score as many points as possible to give ourselves a good chance, or a better chance even, to wrap up the championship in either Kota or Malaysia. Malaysia being the race after this one, like I said before. I don't really want to let the championship go down to the wire for the final round. I'm not that kind of guy, because if that happens, I'm gonna be honest, you know, yeah, I would rather not be in that position. Let's simply put it like that. I wouldn't like it at all to, you know, have it going down the wire while you can also wrap it up 2 or 3 rounds even before the season ended. And I'm pretty sure most of you guys will understand that. We skip to the opening of lap 6 though, situation unchanged.
I'm trying to save a little bit of boost for later on in this stint.
Good.
Who is ahead of Jim?
Carlos Martin. Front tires are better than simulation, rear tires are worse, about 1% all around. This is lap 6. The car behind is now Patel.
So we're getting some more information from Justin Sutton, our beautiful engineer, of course. Paris is up ahead. He said Carlos Martin is ahead of Paris, and Patel has gone by the guy, whoever was behind us first. Oh, must be Sadler. That has to be Sadler. So Patel has gone by Sadler. All these names, man, in FSR. You have to get used to them again. Patel got by Sadler, there we go, and is now behind us then. And Patel, as we know, is a rather fast guy. I think Patel was actually a little bit further down the field than he usually is, because he missed a train or something and was really late in qualifying, so he couldn't really
Fuel
get a
and
lap
tires
together.
look good.
Fuel and tires look good. That's a good sign. The simulation before this race, usually we do a simulation. What's it called? 1 day before the race. It looked quite decent. I was quite happy with it. The pace on the prime tire is especially consistent. It's very consistent, and actually it gets better and better as the stint progresses, and I'm a big fan of that. I really put a lot of value into the fact that you can be quick at the end of the stint as well, rather than at the beginning. It's sometimes a massive advantage if you can achieve that, and you can definitely achieve it with the prime tire. Now the tire, as we see some battling up ahead, the tire on the prime tire. Oh, Paris actually makes a mistake. That's a free position. He actually does the almost exact same as we have done. Although having said that, we just took way too much speed into the corner and went off the track quite early on. Paris also took too much speed into the corner, but actually got stuck on the outside curb, and when you have that, it's tricky.
Car ahead is Martin.
I'm using a bit of boost trying to get within the DRS.
You're fine, you've got spare.
Yeah, you've got spare. I saved a little bit of fuel behind Paris. What I usually do when I'm in a position like this, I have lost positions at the start. I try to save a little bit of fuel. I know that it's highly unlikely we will pass anyone here, because everyone has basically got DRS on each other. So that makes it really hard. I try to save a little bit of fuel though, so we can use that later on in the race. And then after the first pit stops, that's usually where the race starts, for me, so to say.
These are good lap times, keep this up. We're going to have a good gap when we pit.
Car ahead is struggling.
We stop next lap. Next lap we stop. He may pit.
Okay, he may pit, so I asked Justin whether the pace was good. We're able to stick with Martin and the car out of him, who is actually Daniel Kiss. Kiss is also someone fled in the championship, I believe, but mainly our eyes were on Paris, and that was definitely it, and we had to outscore him. So for us it's good that he made that mistake, of course. He was stuck on the outside curb, and when you touch the outside curb there, it basically drags you towards the outside of the track because you lose grip on that curb. So it's rather tough. As Justin said, Carlos Martin up ahead may pit, so we know that we are going to stay out, but he is going to pit and obviously get an undercut on us, so most likely he'll be coming out ahead of us when we are going to pit. And in the meantime, Daniel Kiss is into.
Okay, we stop next lap. We stop this lap. The end of this lap for the primes. We're going on the hards.
And Justin has made his mind up and says we're going on the prime. So no medium tires for us. We're going on the prime. And I think, Justin, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in the back of Justin's mind was Singapore right now. Remember the race in Singapore? I think it was the second or third stint where we were on the medium and Patel and Brilyak were on the hard tire, the prime tire. And they were able to keep up with us while we were on the option tire. And usually on the option tire you're faster than the guy who's on hard tires. So
tires are 3% better than Sim. Give me everything you got. Maximum boost.
So yeah, you can understand that Justin probably learned a little bit from that race as well, and thinks or wants to avoid a similar scenario like that, where you're basically throwing away a set of option tires without using them to good effect. So there we go. I think it's a clever call. We don't really have got a lot to lose, to be honest. Our focus is on the final stint, hence why I've saved quite a bit of fuel. But like I said before, usually the race unfolds after the first couple after the first pit stops, after the first pit window.
Pit for hard, confirm.
Yep. Pit for hard.
Well, there we have it, confirmed. We used quite a bit of boost on this in lap. I was secretly hoping I could overcut Carlos Martin up ahead. That is rather hard to do, so especially when there is no refueling, and we don't have refueling in FSR. It is rather cut to overcut the car ahead of you, because he has got the undercut, he's got the fresher tires for the outlap, and we've got the worn tires for our in-lap. But Carlos Martin is on the prime.
I think we're going to be racing Stefanko at the exit. Stefanko, he's on new mediums. He's coming into the Casio Triangle now. Journey's on mediums.
Yeah, so most people around us are on mediums, I think. There goes Carlos Martin, and he indeed rejoins ahead of us, so couldn't get that overcut to work, but that's not really a shame.
It's Martin ahead, he's on mediums. We want to try and keep up with him if we can. back to regular boost strategy.
Back to regular boost strategy, so that's what Justin advises us. And he also says, of course, if we can keep up with Carlos Martin, if we can stay with Carlos Martin, we are in a good seat. But you know, it's easier said than done, because again, he is on the option tire, we're on the slower prime tire, but this tire will last longer than his option tire. So it's a pretty big strategic battle. However, we have to keep in our mind that we will be running on the option tire at the end, while the others most likely are on the prime at the end. So that's hopefully where our advantage lies. And look at this, there's quite a bit of battling going on ahead of us. Kiss battling with a Networks driver. I'm not entirely sure who that is, excuse me about that. But he is being held up, and that is all in our advantage, because if you also remember the race at Monza, I think there was also a second stint there where I was able to keep up on my prime tires to the guys who were on the option tires, and that was crucial for our victory that day at Monza. And if we can do something similar like that, then you know, we are again in a good seat. I think it's Greco actually, this car up ahead. I'm pretty sure it is Greco. I'm 99% sure this is Greco. Greco has got the DRS though, we have got it too, and with the slipstream we pull alongside. I think David Greco knows it himself too. He's on the older tires, he is on the prime, hasn't made it to pit stop yet, but look up ahead. Simulchits has done a repeat of what we did in lap 1 and what Paris's did in lap 5 or so.
Ooh, this is good.
Yes, this is very good. All three of them are on mediums. All three of them are on mediums.
You know, and now you can feel that this is starting to play in our hands. The cars up ahead on the option tire, they are all battling. Simulchits making a mistake that bunches them up and moves me a little bit closer onto the back of Carlos Martin. Now it is our objective to stay with them. I'm not necessarily looking to overtake them. If I can, great. But you have to be realistic too and say to yourself, it's unlikely. Our time, again, will be at the end of this race. My job is to stick with them and get DRS.
They are always using boost down here as well, always.
That's good for us. It means they'll struggle for fuel at the end of the race, and we'll be on the mediums.
Yes, in the first and also this stint, the second stint, I was struggling to keep up with the cars ahead. And I felt like the guys ahead used more boost than I was usually doing, especially in between the hairpin and the Dagner corner. So right as the team radio was playing, that is the section where I was usually losing time to the cars ahead. And I think it was down to boost. I don't think we have got bad top speed around this track at all. I think we're actually a little bit on a better hand even, but there we go. I was struggling in the first stint to keep up down that section, and in this second stint you can see I have clearly fallen out of DRS range of Carlos Martin, so that's a bit of a bummer.
Car behind is now Patel. He stopped the same lap as us, 14.
Okay, so Patel has stopped the same lap as us, but is on the other tire compound. You can see it. He has got the white tire, so to say. We are on the prime tire, the hard compound. So expect a lot of pressure from Patel, definitely from behind. We can still see the top three. They are still inside, but I had to let them go, obviously. Again, we are on the slower tire and we are having to focus on the end of the race. That is simply the strategy we have gone with, and I absolutely stand by the strategy. I think it is the right call. Yes, we will be under pressure now. Perhaps Patel will overtake us. I'll try my best to keep him behind, that's for sure. But you know, Patel, a very feisty driver, always on the limit of what's possible, and definitely a very talented and fast guy. And he may even get a shot here already. Had a good run out of the exit of the Casio triangle, that final chicane. Has got DRS. I decide to go defensive, and he would have to do it around the outside, and he does it. There's a bit of contact though on the apex of the second corner, but Patel makes the move stick. A brilliant move around the outside. You have got to admit that. We stuck to the inside of the track, and Patel said, that's no problem, I'll go nicely around the outside. And a fantastic clean move by Patel that was. Perhaps the medium tires giving him a bit of an advantage, but I wouldn't blame it on that. This guy has got the massive racing insight, great racecraft, and makes use of it here. We see it on the replay here. Again, Patel, I said before, always on the limit of what's possible. and perhaps maybe a little bit over it there. He squeezed us quite heavily on the apex. To be fully honest, I could have stayed to the inside myself a little bit more as well. So it's a bit 50-50 that contact. Luckily we both got away with it. Here you can see it. There is the squeeze. Wow, you know, not really gonna comment on it, to be honest. It's a bit 50-50.
Car behind is Stefanko. He stopped on lap 11 for those.
Everyone is, I think, boosting the shit out of their cars the whole time.
This is lap 24. This is the 10th lap of this stint. We need to do 15 more. Fuel and tires look good.
Yeah, I say it there as well. Everyone is boosting the shit out of their cars. I mean, that's really how I felt. And Stefanko here as well is having a good run. Can he do a similar thing to what Patel did? No, he cannot, or he can't. So we stick nicely to the middle of the road and give Stefanko no, not really an option. I think Patel had a bit better top speed perhaps than Stefanko, or Patel just had a better run out of Casio Triangle than Stefanko had there. We are yet to do another 15 laps, I think is what Justin said. That would make sense. That would mean we split in lap 39 or something and then do another 14 lap stint at the end. Having said that, with the boost thing, the more the more boost the guys use around. Let me start that again. The more boost the guys around us use, there we go, the less they will obviously have available at the end again.
How is our pace compared to the leaders now?
1/10 quicker. You're 1/10 quicker. 2.3 to the car ahead. 7.4 to the leader.
So we're now getting at the stage where there's a crossover. There's a crossover in terms of performance from the prime tire where we are on and the medium tire. That is also the reason why I can keep Stefanko reasonably, comfortable behind now. His tires are wearing worse than ours, and our tires are at this stage only getting faster and faster. That's what I've said before. Remember, I said these prime tires only develop over the course of the stint, until the last 5 laps or so. Then they start dropping off. But before that, there's basically a pace increase or a pace advantage after every lap you do, and that's because the car is getting lighter as well with fuel. We skip to the start of lap 28. We're in P3 and Stefanko has pitted, so obviously he will have an undercut. He will most likely be ahead of us when we are going to pit, but will be on the medium tire and he will definitely be on the prime tire. So it was a case of keeping it up until lap 40 or so.
Who is behind?
Paresis. He's on prime, same as you.
Yes, and you have to give credit to Paresis here. I think this stint here, our hard stint, the pace was average, I guess. It was not really anything special. It wasn't too bad either, but Paresis, who was behind us before by quite a while, has actually closed the gap to us, and that is very impressive from the Greek guy. Because he is on the exact same tire as us. He is not on the option tire, has not got a pace advantage. He just clearly closed up to us using his raw speed, so to say. And that is again rather impressive from him. And he could be a threat because he's on the exact same strategy as us. We'll go to the medium tire for the final stint. And again, is perhaps a threat, especially if he's this quick. I mean, he closes up while we were on the exact same tire. That is very good. But maybe he has used a little bit more of tire life than us. That could be the case as well. And then if that is the case, he will drop off again at the end of this prime stint. We have some more team radio. I guess it's about the strategy.
Paresis might try and undercut us onto the primes again. Do you want to protect against the undercut or continue with the strategy? Okay.
Plan A.
We want to try and stop on lap 38. We can stop on lap 37 if we want to be a bit more aggressive. If you want to use some boost to break the DRS, you can.
Negative.
Okay.
So I'm really picky with the boost right now, if that's the right word. I really wanted to have as much fuel available for the final couple of laps, because it could be the case that the guys who will be ahead of us are all in the DRS train, and that makes overtaking so hard when they all have got the DRS. Lap 37 now, we open up at 38. This is team radio from a few laps ago.
Did Paresis spit or drop back?
Drop back. This is 36, we're stopping on 38. We can stop next lap if you want to be more
No,
aggressive.
no.
Okay, we stop this lap for the mediums. We should come out in clean air.
So Justin suggested that we could also stop 37. I think a 16 lap medium stint at the end is a little bit too much. I'm gonna have to be honest with myself and realize that I will most likely be going crazy on the mediums at the end. That's the only thing I can do really in order to move up positions. I'll most likely be battling, and I want this extra lap basically of tire freshness on the medium tires in order to really get the maximum out of them, I feel. And Paris, you can see it in the mirrors, you can see it from this view as well now, has massively dropped back. So what I was talking about before is perhaps true. Perhaps he used a bit too much of his tire life and has dropped back. Perhaps he has also made a mistake, could be the case. However, we focus on lap 38, which is this lap. That's the lap we are going to stop, and I assume we'll be exiting P5, P6. So we have got quite a bit of overtaking to do, and it is a little bit sad, of course, when you consider we were in pole position at the start of this race. But you know, no harsh feelings in my opinion, because I have made a mistake myself in lap 1, turn 1, where I was too enthusiastic, too opportunistic, and made a mistake, and I have to pay the price for that now. But let's make up for it as best as we can in this final stint. Time to shine now.
Paris is in behind you. Should come out behind Stefanko. So ahead of you, you'll have Stefanko, then Patel, then Simoncic, then Martin, then Kiss.
So there we go. Paris is doing a wise thing there in the pit lane, by the way, to avoid an unsafe release. That doesn't only help. Does it help him? No, I don't think it would help him, but it helps me a bit. So that's very classy from Paris is doing that. Okay, lap 39 now. Like I said before, this is now time to shine. This is the stint where it has to happen for us. And if not, we'll be finishing in the position we are in right now, but rather not. You know, I would rather finish as high as possible, of course. The good thing is, though, is that we are ahead of Paris, and that was our main target. Try to score as many points as possible and finish ahead of Paris as our main championship rival.
We have extra boost. Cars ahead are on prime, so you can either use the boost to catch them quicker or save the boost to help with overtaking.
Screen freezes, massive screen freezes.
So we're in P6 at the moment, position 6. There we see it at the top, that's your confirmation. Lap 43, Kiss is leading from Carlos Martin, who has put himself into second quite well. Who leads from Simoncic, who leads from Stefanko, who leads from Patel. Patel you can see ahead, Stefanko you can see ahead as well. Stefanko has not got DRS on the top 3. Stefanko has not got DRS on Simoncic. That is possibly a help, but the car ahead, Patel, has got DRS on Stefanko, so that makes it quite hard again to overtake him. But, well, we're looking quite good. Remember, we are on the mediums, he is on the hard tire. That gives us the advantage, but yeah, it is hard to overtake someone in the DRS zones when he has got DRS at the same time. Plenty of laps to go, though, although we're starting to run out of time a bit too.
We've got half a liter spare.
And we have got half a liter spare. I used quite a bit of boost to, excuse me, to close the gap to the cars up front. So in this case, Patel and Stefanko. That was quite a hefty gap, so to say. I cut out the chase, so to say, after our pit stop, because you know it's just me lapping as quick as I can. Who would like to see that? You know, this is much more interesting. But I can tell you that during that period, during that stage, I was using quite a reasonable amount of boosts, boost levels, quite a lot of fuel. And how to get by these guys, you know, how to get by these guys, and especially when it's Patel. How do you get behind Patel, or how do you get by Patel, who has also got DRS? It's not easy. It is tough. Again, we're starting to run out of time as well. Lap 47 out of 53, and as the laps go counting by, you start to get more. You start to. What's the right word here? You start to become quite desperate. That's it. Because obviously you want to get by these guys. You're in P6. Yes, we're ahead of Paris. My voice is really struggling to keep up with this commentary. One second. Okay, there we go. Paris has fallen quite away from us, so we'll most likely be finishing ahead of him. And bit of oversteer there on the curb. The thing is as well, Stefanko, I think, who is obviously in P4, Kiss is there, leading by quite a margin. Then it's Martin, then it's SimRacing, there's Stefanko, but Stefanko is starting to close the gap on Simulcic as well. There we go. It's tough, you know, with all these names again. First time I'm doing commentary since a long while, and we almost made contact with Patel. Then, like I said, you're getting desperate. You need to try something different in order to get an overtaking maneuver done. Quick look at that again. It is too close. It is too close for comfort. I simply made a mistake there, and actually that was pure luck that I did not run into the back of Patel. But phew, you know, breathe and keep going again. I'm not necessarily sure, or I'm not exactly sure. As we see again, I'm starting to get desperate now to get by. I'm starting to do different things, because the normal things I did before weren't really working. But we see an overtaking maneuver there, Simulcic on Martin. But what I wanted to say is that Simulcic has gone by. Stefanko is closing the gap to top 3, and I'm not exactly sure whether I should be happy with that or not. Because, well, the positive thing is, if Stefanko closes the gap to the top 3, it's effectively the top 3 excluding Kiss, because Kiss has got quite a bit of a lead. So it's a train from Carlos Martin onwards, which is now Simulcic who leads from Martin. Firstly, I am closer obviously to P2, but the negative thing is that we all now get DRS, including Stefanko.
Martin is struggling. Martin is struggling. Could be your chance.
We can hear it on the radio now too. This is your chance. Be careful. Martin is struggling. He has dropped from P2 to P3, and you can just see how much time he's actually lost to Simulcic. And now Stefanko is right on the back of him. So this will be very interesting. And again, I'm not exactly sure whether I should be happy with this or not. But if those guys ahead of us start battling, we have to capitalize as best as we can. Thing is now though, Stefanko is catching the dirty air of Martin, and Martin is struggling. Martin is struggling, I think, on his tires as Patel goes very wide on the extra 130R. Is this one of those moments where I can capitalize? I guess yes. It's from a long way back into the Casio triangle. There's actually a lot of wheel banging, but I think we're ahead. Yes, we are ahead indeed, but it's not over yet. I think Patel will have DRS on us as well. We move over to the inside there, really blocking him even. I think he was almost going to, or he wanted to go to the inside, and now Stefanko up ahead makes a mistake. We've seen him, more people doing that over there, especially me into turn 1 of course as well. But just about not ahead of Stefanko. That would be quite something, because if you are ahead of Stefanko there, you're behind Martin who's struggling, and suddenly a podium is on the cards again. So yeah, that was a rather close situation, but let's take it step by step, because obviously the move on Patel came first. Like I said before, if those guys start battling, you have to capitalize as best as you can. Patel goes over the curb there, that drags him out wide of the circuit, and this is a proper dive bomb. That is a proper dive bomb which I made. It is from a really long way back, but at the same time I felt like Patel left the door wide open, and I went for it. I braked late, yes, of course I did, but I braked in the way, in my opinion, that I could still easily make that corner. It wasn't like I was going to overshoot it. There was contact though, because look at it again, it is from a long way back, and I guess Patel realized as well. Perhaps he closed the door a little bit too late, and then he had to leave the room. Here we see it from this perspective. I completely agree, it's from a really long way back, but again, if your opponent leaves the door wide open and you can make the corner yourself too, then yeah, it doesn't receive the most clean overtake award of the year, so to say, because there was definitely some wheel banging, but yeah, I guess we got past there. More team radio.
This is lap 50, lap 50. 3 more laps, 3 more laps.
And obviously now it is we're in a bit of a different situation, and it's all thanks to Carlos Martin, who is struggling a little bit more. I can see there are some... Don't do the same as Patel did there. If you touch the curb, it can easily drag you out wide. Luckily it didn't do it there for me, but again, I can sense an opportunity here. I can sense there's a podium on the cards. Having said that, my medium tires are obviously not in their best condition anymore either. With 2 more laps to go. It is getting rather tense here at the front. Simulchich, you can see up ahead, is actually closing the gap to the leader Daniel Kiss, so perhaps we'll have a battle for the lead as well at the end of the race. But obviously these are my personal highlights, and I shall stick to my highlights as well. Thing is as well, sometimes I think about showing other battles out on track, but again, it's kind of like my channel and I would like to show my race, not because I am not because I want to be egoistic in that way, but because as well because as we have a screen freeze. Oh, no time to explain that, because I had a screen freeze. I complained about it before and it happens again, and it puts Patel right on our backs side by side into here. Patel clinches the bump there, and that's a huge oversteering moment. He miraculously saved it. But quickly, what I wanted to say is I think sometimes there will be people as well who want to make highlights from their point of views as well. Other drivers who want to make highlights from their point of view. So if I were to put their point of view in my videos already, you know, there wouldn't be much for them to show, I guess, and I would spoil it a little bit for them. So that's really where that comes from. And with 2 more laps, is it? Yep, it is 2 more laps. As soon as we cross the line now, we'll be knowing how this battle has panned out. It seems like a gigantic battle here. Stefanko is gonna have a run on Martin then. Here we go. Stefanko will have to try to do it around the outside. He is still around the outside there. They don't give each other a lot of room, bit of bump or wheel banging rather over there. And let's see if we can capitalize on the mistake. But we tapped the rear end of Carlos Martin. It sends him spinning round, and he collects us there in the process of hitting the barrier quite hard himself. And we have to give up our position to Patel, and not to Paris's though, because this is in fact quite lucky. Paris's spun a lap before. If you paid attention, you would have seen it in the mirrors already. Firstly, let's take it step by step after that crash. Here is where I had the screen freeze. I think I had 3 or 4 of those screen freezes in the race. It doesn't really help. I mean, the screen freeze was only, you know, it's only like a couple of tenths, but it seems almost like an eternity once you drive the car. And Patel with a miraculous save. I don't know how he did it. By the way, I spoke to Patel after the race, and he said that from this point onwards he couldn't see me at all anymore. So he didn't know where I was. I think at least that's what he said. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mo. But he didn't see me, and then he basically left space on the inside because he thought I would be there, but he didn't actually see me. So if that's true what he said, then I'm really glad that he actually left space on the inside, even though he couldn't see me. Here's where Paris spun. And honestly, that is quite lucky, because then you know, it saves us another position. Here we have a look at it then. So I'm afraid that you have got to immediately point the finger at me. Let's have a look at it first though. They're gonna go side by side into the S's, and then Carlos Martin on the apex. I misjudged the gap or I misjudged the closing speed. You can see it from this point of view quite clearly again from the onboard. Because they went side by side into there, obviously Martin was compromised, and then you get the extra effect, very close to touching him there again by the way, but you get then another effect where the dirty air kicks him, and he has to slow down even more basically. I already took a few measurements in order to try avoid contact, which obviously failed. I failed doing that, and therefore I am at fault, I think. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I already went quite a bit slower than I did on the previous laps in that corner to avoid contact, as we have something radio.
Last lap. That's Paris is behind. Just stay on track.
But even though I went quite a bit slower compared to my previous laps in that corner on the apex, it wasn't enough. Again, I misjudged the closing speed, I misjudged the Martin speed he would have in there. Martin was a big 22 kph slower in that corner than he was on the previous lap, and those 22 kph slower were more than I basically expected. Maybe I thought he would have been 10 or 15 kph slower than normal. And that's where I adjusted my speed for, you know, but that wasn't right, and I was wrong doing that, and I always say, or usually say, the car from behind is always at fault, and it definitely is in the case in this situation. So, what is the situation now though? Well, we are about to cross the line. Obviously, you'll hear a lot of team radio after the race. I'll explain it a little bit more because has Carlos Martin, for example, protested, or are we receiving any kind of penalty?
Who's going to win?
Looks like Kiss.
Simoncic second then.
Yep, and then Fanko, and then Patel, and then you.
It's a shame. Oh, okay, thank you.
No problem. Yeah, I think that was the maximum. I mean, I think if we ran medium in the second stint, we wouldn't have done any better. I mean, I think we still would have been in the exact same position at the end of the race, but with worse tires.
I agree.
So, I think we gave ourselves the best possibility with that strategy, and you executed it perfectly.
Yeah.
Where's Paresis? Yeah, he was the car behind, so
Yeah.
you beat Paresis.
Good job with the fuel as well. Seems to be right on target. So thank you.
Some people are blaming you for the incident, and other people are blaming Carlos.
Wow. Okay. Where did Dan finish?
Yeah, DNF.
Aye.
His pedals moved while he was driving. His pedals like fell off something or moved to the side or something like that, and he made contact with the barrier, and that was that.
I did my mistake into turn 1, and then the rest got compromised, I guess. But yeah, that was a bit dumb.
Well, yeah, I mean, you were down to what, 6th at the end, after turn 1. Is that you were down to 6th? I think was right.
Yeah, at turn 1 it was just my bad, and again we got compromised a bit there. But I should learn from the starts because they are always poor. So I'm gonna apply a different technique because I have to. But yeah, I don't think we could have extracted more, to be honest.
No.
After what happened in turn 1.
Yep, I don't think so.
We did a 33.9 fastest lap, while in our sim we did a 34.5, so that says something as well.
Yep.
So disappointment is really the feeling that that was most present after this race. Let's start off from the beginning. Obviously, we had this start where I already messed it up. Let's be honest with ourselves. I simply messed up the start. Dan was too eager to take back the position, and in the end, I only lost more because of it. Tried to fight back. I think we took the right strategy. There was really not a lot more we could have done. It's tough to pass people when they all have DRS in each other. The only way you can basically pass is when they make a mistake. For example, with what Patel did, and even then it's pretty hard because, let's be honest, that move on Patel wasn't the I said it before, the most clean overtake of the year. I'll completely agree on that and completely admit it. But you try to fight back as best as you can. You try to score as many points still as you can, and then in the last couple of laps, I wouldn't even call it. I wouldn't even put it down to me being over enthusiastic or something like that, or I don't necessarily think feelings were a factor in that, because at that time I was pretty calm, took a calm approach. But I simply again made a mistake when I judged the closing gap or the closing speed. I thought that Carlos Martin would have been a little bit quicker on the apex there, but I was wrong in thinking that, and therefore I made collision, or I made contact with him. I thought he actually could save it, but that wasn't the case. So obviously he went in the gravel trap, and then I guess it's a little bit unlucky, or a taste of your own medicine, depending on how you look at it, that we got collected in the process. I feel sorry for Carlos Martin that happened. I also said after the race, I apologize. In my defense, again, I already thought that I took enough measurements to avoid contact, so that is my defense. However, you have to be honest with yourself again as well, and say that it was a plain mistake, plain stupidity to think that he was gonna go a little bit faster through that corner. Again, he already was compromised because of his line, and he picked up the dirty air, so of course he had to slow down. Again, more than I thought he would. That's where the contact came from, and to keep it simple, I approached him after the race, said, I'm sorry, I apologize, and well, then came a part where I really take my hat off for. I really have a lot of respect for Carlos Martin and the way he dealt with it, because when I said that I made that mistake. Obviously, when a driver feels like they have been disadvantaged, they can always protest if they want. And he simply said, no, I won't protest. It can happen. We'll shake hands and move onwards. Basically, that's where it came down to. And I highly appreciate a mindset like that. I try to apply the same mindset myself. If you remember earlier on in the season, Daniel Kiss rejoined the track in Australia, pretty much taking me out, costing me the race. In Catalonia, Spain, Patel had as he had described it, a brain fart and dive bombed me where he basically smashed me off track. But I also said after the race to those guys, you know, it can happen. Let's move on, shake hands, and do the rest of the talking on track again. And I really like an approach like that. I don't think you should always go to the stewards whenever something has happened. We should also realize we're all human, we can make mistakes, and perhaps at the end of the race we can all shake hands, move on, and create more epic fights in the future. But most of all, or most importantly, learn from our mistakes and avoid them for the future. And again, that's basically what Carlos Martin did. I highly respect that, like I said before. Of course, it's in one way good for our championship hopes that he does that. Although, again, if he wished to protest, then he should have done that, and I perhaps would have picked up a penalty, and of course would have accepted that, because there's nothing you can do about that. I have to be honest with myself and say that I was most likely at fault. Again, in my defense, I tried to take measurements, but they simply didn't work. So whether it's a good defense or not, it's probably not, but that's up to you to decide. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it though. Again, huge respect to Carlos Martin that he has an approach like that. Not many people have that at all in FSR, that has to be said. But from now onwards we move on to Malaysia, and Malaysia is going to be interesting, because obviously it's Malaysia. It can perhaps rain, but there's a championship at stake. The Drivers' Championship can be decided there. We need to pick up a win, and then we are basically assured of being the champion, or we have to finish ahead of both Kiss and Paris, I think. I'll talk about that though in the next video. This video has been long enough already. I would like to really thank you guys all for watching. Once again, I'm very sorry for the lack of videos, for the delays. I'll be trying to push out videos quite quickly from now onwards. The FSR season is over, so I should be able to do that. Thank you all for watching. I hope that you have enjoyed the video. If you have, then I would really appreciate a like. I hope you all have a great day. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you all.